Hello there, and welcome to Dry Eye Girlfriend, the podcast where beauty, wellness, and science come together in the most eye-opening way. I'm Angela, your advocate, wellness enthusiast, and go-to girlfriend for all things dry eye. Sure, there's plenty of science and medical jargon out there, but where is the real talk? I created this show to raise awareness, share practical solutions, and bring you episodes with global experts, holistic health pros, industry insiders, and women just like you who are navigating the same journey. We talk about everything from nutrition and skincare to the most up-to-date science in dry eye. Because when we start connecting the dots between lifestyle and eye health, everything starts to get a whole lot clearer. Let's get into it. Hello there, and welcome back to the Dry Eye Girlfriend podcast. I think you guys are really going to love this conversation today. I actually have an industry insider here. His name is Justin Mendelson, and he is the founder and CEO of the company Blinkjoy. Great name. Can't wait to understand a little bit more about that name. Anyway, this is a fast-growing therapeutic eye care company that's focused on helping people better manage their dry eye and lid conditions through modern, doctor-backed routines and devices. So after struggling with severe dry eye himself, Justin took the leap and he made the decision to leave his career in Silicon Valley and start his company. And this is exactly what he was hoping to have, these types of solutions, when he was going through kind of the depths of his own journey. So today, Blinkjoy serves customers all over the world, and it's helping redefine how eye care can really look. Justin resides in California. He enjoys, outside of work time, surfing and cold plunging. My kind of guy. Anyway, I'm excited to have this conversation and you guys join us. Justin, I am really glad you're here. Thank you again. I appreciate you joining me. And I know we've chatted before, and I love your perspective because it really comes from lived experience. I know for you, you've suffered with dry eye for years, and that's what led you to create a company around dry eye. And so I think a lot of people are going to really land with your story. And so again, thank you for joining me. To start off, I would love to go back to the beginning. Can you share your own dry eye journey just for everyone so they understand kind of the pain points that were happening for you? And I think a lot of people will be able to relate for sure.
Definitely. My dry eye journey started when I was in college or in grad school, actually. That was 16, 17 years ago now. It was just initially some discomfort with contacts, which I was very used to wearing. I started wearing contacts like when I was 12, so it was confusing and I was unclear as to why my contacts just didn't feel right anymore. And so I started seeing a couple different eye doctors and they put me on Restasis, or at first they had me not wear contacts for a month to see if that would help. But then when it didn't, they put me on Restasis, steroid drops, but the discomfort just really didn't go away. And I wouldn't say back then there was a clear, diagnosis for dry eye, particularly for somebody in their early 20s. And so I kind of bopped around to different care providers to try to figure out what was going on. I think I tried LipiFlow at the time, which, to a college student was tough because it was like $800 or something, or $1,200, and that was a lot of money for me. So being able to pay out of pocket for something like that was challenging.
Can you explain what LipiFlow, what it felt like from a patient perspective? I don't know if everyone here would know what LipiFlow is.
So there are a lot more in-office procedures available for dry eye, but back then it was pretty slim pickings. LipiFlow and some of the similar treatments basically just try to heat up your glands in your eyelids so that the oils flow a little bit more smoothly. And that's...
Was it uncomfortable? Was the procedure itself, was it okay? I've seen it. I've never had it done. So just from your experience?
It was pretty simple and painless. I've now had my glands heated, IPL, expressed, done a lot more now since then. But I generally find most dry eye in office procedures pretty simple and painless. I also find it ironic that that care provider recommended LipiFlow at that time because my oils were actually fine. They weren't gunked up in the glands. And it sort of was the first time that I experienced a care provider just sort of not knowing what to recommend. So just saying like, oh, some people do LipiFlow. Why don't you try that? And again, at that time, I didn't have any knowledge of dry eye or the different modalities of it to help determine what was the best procedure to choose for myself. Now I know a lot more, but I think that's like sometimes kind of a cold splash of water in the face for folks like when they first are exposed to dry eye. It is a chronic disease and it is something that you do have to learn a little bit more about and learn a little bit more to ask the right questions to try to understand like what the best solutions are for whatever it is your situation is. And if you're not getting the right guidance from your care provider, find a better care provider that can work with you more closely on tailoring the solutions to your needs. You know, that kind of then led me on this journey. I traveled all over the US. I've seen over the years probably 20 to 30 different eye care providers. In 2020, when when we were in lockdown, my dry was really bad. It kind of just kept getting worse.
I know. Now you're on screens, and so it's like major fatigue happening. Like the root cause for yours, do you know at this
Mine's kind of multifactorial, as it is the case for many people, but I have lag which is when your eyelids don't close completely when you blink or when you sleep. In my case, it's both. And so there was many years of that occurring, and so your tears aren't distributing fully, like when your eyelids are not touching, and so your eyes just don't have the appropriate amount of lubrication that they should, and that kind of built up inflammation and irritation over a long period of time, and that can trigger other things to occur, and you might have so that might be the start, but then you start to establish neuropathic pain pathways. So your brain is overinterpreting the nerves that are in the surface of your eye. And so there's, I think, a component of neuropathic pain. There's some lag going on. Now I'm in my late 30s, and there's a couple glands that the oils are a little thick or clogged. So I think there's some like MGD happening. So mine's definitely multifactorial. But in 2020, my dry pain was like off the charts. It was 10 out of 10. Um, was having a hard time functioning, doing anything. And that was when I thought I might have to go on medical leave. It was like kind of that bad. But then that sort of dire strait was what inspired me to start tinkering and like trying to find solutions to the problem. And that was when I started researching and reading a lot about lag and talking to people online and support groups and started experimenting on how to solve it for myself. And that eventually got me to finding kind of the right combination of things that work for me. I would say my dry pain today, like on a day-to-day basis, is probably like between a 1 and a 4. On bad days, sometimes it's a 6, but like most days, I'm not feeling constrained by it in any way.
That's great because, and I think you touched on a couple of things that a lot of people may not realize. I actually have the same issue where my lids don't fully close, and this makes me understand your product line a lot more right now because at night, if you're not getting that full closure, you're getting all of this exposure, and hence it just turns into all of these things you just described. It can get as bad as pain associated with it over time. So this is this makes sense to me. So in your dry eye journey now, you've identified, you've got something going on. Are you frustrated at this point because you're like, I don't really have a product that will help me? What prompted you to be like, I'm going to take this in my own hands and, fill in the gaps with leaving my company and creating this amazing product line?
I would say I'm naturally kind of like a tinkerer and like I see a problem and I have to figure out a solution for it. This was just a very complicated problem. And I was experiencing it severely myself, so I was very motivated to try to figure it out.
For sure.
Um,
And the brooder mask wasn't cutting it?
Well, I wasn't really doing Brooder yet at that point because I had identified that lagophthalmos was like the majority of my problem, and so I needed a nighttime solution. And because like I was working, I found a really phenomenal ophthalmologist, dry eye expert at that time, and he was working very closely with me on trying to test things and figure out the right combination of solutions. And we were both in agreement that nighttime logophthalmos was the biggest thing we needed to tackle. So he was like, let's just start testing everything, taping, um, this product, this silicone mask that existed. I tried swim goggles, like, and then I went back to him. I was like, none of these are working for me. They fall off or they don't fit or whatever the reason they're not working. And he said, you've sort of exhausted everything that's available. And I said to him, Dr. Fishman, I'm going to figure this out myself. And he's like, that's so cool. Like, I can't wait to see what you come up with. And so, I don't know, it took me like 2 years from that point on of like, I mean, I was cutting things apart. I would
I
go
love
down, I found a seamstress down the street where I was living in Palo Alto, and I had her like help me make a custom mask out of fabric, and then I cut other things and put that in. So it was a very long process. It didn't like kind of happen overnight, I guess, pun intended. Um, but then eventually, over a few years, then I finally created sort of the first Blinkjoy mask, which was for sleep and lagoptomos. And I remember bringing that first one into him, and I was like, Dr. Fishman, what do you think of this? He was like, holy, like this is wild. Like, I can't believe you pulled this off. Like, this is so great. Are you using it? I'm like, yeah, it's like, it's a game. It's been a game changer.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and
I
so
actually I have, I don't know, is this the night one? I have your mask. Of course I have your mask.
that's a heat one.
This is the heat one,
That
right?
came later.
I
That,
love this for so many reasons. We can talk about that in a little bit, but
yeah, that
it's so
came.
this one is the one that's, can you explain that? Because you probably have multiple products you can talk to us about here, but
So nocturnal lagophthalmos, when you sleep with your lids open, it's a tricky problem to solve because sleep is really people are picky about their sleep. If you can't fall asleep, if you're not comfortable, then no solution to that is going to work. Like you have to be
no.
comfortable and able to sleep.
I'm
Um,
thinking of you like taped eyes and like trying to get comfortable. And like
yeah,
the next thing is like these goggles on your face. Like it's already hard enough, especially like when you're suffering with something like that, to actually get good sleep. And then you've got this going on. It's impossible.
yeah, yeah. Well, and my dad sleeps with a CPAP machine, so it's like I've seen that, and those aren't the most comfortable things either.
No,
And
that's a
I
lot. And you can't move in those. So
They have newer ones now that are actually good, like pretty, not good, but better. But like it was a aha moment of, okay, if you're gonna sleep with that whole thing on your face to be healthier and not snore and not, all the sleep apnea things, then I will figure out like something that I can put on my eyes to help me feel better. So, but the idea is not that it's fundamentally that the mechanics of it are not that complicated. It's that you need a protective seal around the orbital bones, keep the exposed cornea not having airflow or, I mean, dry air, a fan or a humidifier, or sorry, air conditioner, any of those things create a ton of irritation. So you need something to seal. You need it to be impermeable so that the air doesn't go through it. So I was looking at silicone because silicone is bioinert. It's used on a ton of medical devices, and it's flexible, so you can have it kind of form fit to the shape of people's faces.
I love this too because for me, I sleep with a silk mask, eye mask at night. Now I see all the problems with that.
Yeah, some people that works. Everybody's a little bit different.
But I do like this idea, right? Like
Well,
it's
I also
specific.
sleep with a ton of goop in my eyes
Yeah.
because we,
You're using all the ointments and everything else. Yeah.
yeah, so it's also very common for people with nighttime dry eye issues to use ointments. I use a specialty ointment, but I mean, there's a whole lot of different nighttime ointments people can choose. So like they'll rub off on your pillow, they rub off on your mask, they get everywhere. And usually there's petroleum in them or lanolin or like stuff that if it gets on your sheets, it's like not
Impossible.
that easy to wash out.
Yeah.
So it's great to have that silicone seal over there because you can just rinse it off in the sink with some soapy water and you're good to go. But then Dr. Fishman said to me, Justin, you need to go to an eye care conference and just like see if what other doctors think about this. So I
Yeah.
went to a conference with a backpack of these masks.
Love
I
it.
had like 50 of them that the factory made, and I walked around and I was handing them out, and all these optometrists kept saying, "This is a great thing. Like, I can't believe this doesn't exist. Like, do you sell this? Can I buy this from you right now?" Like,
That was your proof of concept.
that was the beginning. As things kind of picked up and grew organically, I was thinking, wow, okay, well, sort of checkbox on solving like one problem, but I also now do heat for keeping my oils healthy, and I do lid cleanings when I have a blocked gland, and there's all these other things that I'm doing to manage my dry eye, and I always as sort of a tinkerer and like, oh, this could that like we should that should be better, or
Yeah.
that's not that convenient, and so
Honestly, though, what you've done with the eye mask, I just have to say, so I had always used the Bruder mask. It was, obviously the to me the main one and most recommended, but you need a microwave and you can't travel with it easily, right? And so when I got your mask, the one that I was just showing, I'm like, this is a game changer. You can charge this thing, it holds the charge for days, and you can take it with you wherever you want. So being a traveler, this is awesome for me. And it's funny because one of my friends was like, I need an eye mask, and I recommended this one because she's like, well, I don't have a microwave. I'm like, well, I've got the mask for you. And it's been a game changer for so many people. So just adding into that, the gap that you were seeing and making it that much more convenient for people has been such a game changer. I've seen it firsthand. So
I'm so glad. Yeah, and I think part of it too is I use all of these products and I don't just use them, like I need them. And so like I live the user experience. And so it's like, okay, I need to heat my heated compresses. And then I'm thinking to myself, it's 9:30 or 10 o'clock. My fiance are getting into bed, and it's like, oh man, I don't want to go back down to the kitchen and like microwave this thing. And then it's, oh wait, why? It's 2026, 2025. Like, why the heck
yeah,
and I just grab some sort of electronic product to do this? And
you
so
want me
that's
to take
kind of
my
where
vitals? That'll be next. It's measuring all of your like dry eye symptoms. We got an idea. There it is.
yeah, well, and there's a lot of things too. Like, so there's just so many different areas. There's so many reasons why people have irritated eyes or lids, you know.
Mhm.
And some people can't use heat, for example, if they have like a lot of irritation or rosacea.
Yeah. I
I
still use it, but I have rosacea, and so it's like when it's under control, it feels good. But then if I'm like in having a, little bit of
So,
that,
there's
that's
cold therapy too. There's all kinds of areas that people need help with and people need better products for. And so that's something that I get excited about. And now, like, there's a company that has kind of grown from it, and we get excited about solving things like that. And so it's been really fun. And
I love that. I love that. And like even us talking, this came from something that was an unmet need for you as a dry eye sufferer, and then now you're changing people's lives. I'm sure you're hearing feedback about your products. I'm sure you're hearing like you've changed lives. Like, how does that ultimately make you feel as like an owner of someone, but an innovator, and like how you've taken something that has been such a difficult experience and turned it into something that's so positive?
yeah, I mean, it's really a humbling experience and it's really motivating as well. And there's nothing that makes me feel more humbled but motivated when I see the testimonials and the stories that people share. And I always am forwarding those to our team now, um, because some of our team members don't always get to see those firsthand or so quickly, um, and it gets everybody really, excited and rallying around going and solving tough problems. So it's been great, and it's really fulfilling to work on a business and work on products that are tangibly helping people and improving people's lives. So,
Love
you know,
that.
it
I
hasn't,
really do.
there's nothing better.
Yeah, yeah. And I know even like through you, but also your company, you're also doing education and awareness, and you're involved in like the Dry Eye Foundation, all of those things. And you know, it's become a bigger, it's just this bigger thing, I'm sure, than what you even realized you were going to be a part of, right?
Yeah, this past summer, I went with the Drive Foundation to DC, and we spoke in the US, to the US Congress, about funding for dry eye research, vision, just overall vision research funding. I just was like pinching myself the whole time. I kept thinking, I can't believe I'm in the Capitol building with other people with dry eye, talking about dry eye, lobbying for funding for research, and I can't even believe I know these people. I'm interacting with these people. It was just really cool, really fulfilling, and also really emotional. It was a very deeply emotional weekend because um, there was a lot of other people there speaking with really insane or remarkable stories, and just being able to relate to that level of challenge that people have overcome or are currently navigating was
Hmm.
very moving.
Hmm.
So it was a cool experience.
No, I love that. I think a lot of it was on YouTube, so I was able to see some of the things that you're talking about, and I think that it's so inspiring to watch. I'm joining something similar here in Canada because we need the same sort of advocacy and work too. So we'll stay in touch on that because I think we can help each other through this journey for sure. Just raising awareness, listening to other people's stories. Dry eye isn't just this inconvenience; it can lead to a lot bigger issues for people, and you never want to see that progress to that point. So I also, you mentioned too, your team's excited and there's, I'm sure, more innovation happening. So can you share anything that you guys are thinking about or working on, or if there's any trials that you're involved with or anything fun that we can kind of keep an eye on for the next little while?
Yeah, good question. There's some stuff that I can't quite share yet that you'll be seeing that's coming out in the next like 12 to 18 months that I'm really very, very excited about. But as far as some things that I can share, actually with another Toronto-based individual, uh, Dr. Richard Maharaj, who you know. Um,
Yeah, he's been on the show.
yeah, we are going to be working on some trials with some of our products, and those will include our rechargeable heat mask, which you held up there, our sleep mask product, our lid hygiene products, and
What are in the, when you say lid hygiene, because I think your tool is really cool. Can you explain it to people, what that is and how it goes beyond what was currently available?
mhm. So lid hygiene back in the day was washing your eyes with baby shampoo.
I know. How?
And now we know that that's not great to do, but there still is, I think, a pretty big gap on eye safe and eye friendly and tear film friendly products that you can use to clean the eye and the eyelid area. There's different reasons why you might want to do or you need to do lid hygiene regularly. I look at it as a very preventative thing. So I
I was
think of it
just gonna say,
as you brush your teeth every day.
should everyone be doing it, not just dry eye, right?
Yeah. And,
Hmm.
and people are like, oh, I wonder why I got this sty.
Exactly.
It's because like there's a little, it's like a pimple, right? Like that happens, but it's, a gland that's has some sort of infection or irritation or it's clogged. But I think everybody would benefit from keeping their lids and lashes really nice and clean. But then you have like people who are actually symptomatic because there's something like demodex, which are these little mites living in your lashes, which can cause blepharitis, which means irritation. You have MGD patients or where glands are already clogged and they're gunked up, and you go and you spend money to have your clinician express, like heat them up and express them, but then you want to keep them clean and clear so the oil is flowing nicely onto the ocular surface. There's people that are putting makeup on that they're not cleaning off fully and then going to bed, and all of that extra gunk and buildup breeds all kinds of nasties. So we were looking at that and thinking, okay, let's not only try to create a line of personal care products that can help people clean their lids better and manage the lid skin so that they're feeling more comfortable, but also have a tool that can help kind of break the buildup and get rid of it. And we were like literally looking at the dentistry industry, and we were thinking to ourselves, you get a deep cleaning from your dentist, and you spend like $1,000 on it, or maybe more. Um, to have them clean all the gums and like under in there and everything. And then it'd be like never going home and brushing your teeth again or flossing. And so we wanted a better tool to be able to do that.
And your brush is it also silicone based?
The brush is medical grade silicone because it's just the most bioinert material. And we didn't want something that people needed to like throw the brush heads out all the time. I try to keep our products as sustainable for the planet too as possible. And so silicone's great because you can sanitize it. It's soft, it's nice and flexible on that sensitive area. And so our brushes are pretty unique in that you can just dunk them in some cleansing solution and keep on using them.
Nice. No, I love that. That's great. Before we wrap this up, I just wanted to, I don't want to leave anything on the table because I feel like we could talk about this forever. But is there any sort of, you know, closing thought that you want to leave with our listeners about your journey, dry eye in general, all of that?
Sure. I would say the biggest thing that I usually talk to folks about is that it's a journey and you need to observe it as a chronic health journey, and it takes time to figure out what works and what doesn't work. It takes time to find a good care provider that you like and that you feel is a good partner for you on the journey. So I would recommend people who are starting to deal with dry eye not just look at it as something you can take a pill and like have it go away, or just do a little routine and now it's gone. It's unfortunate that it's a chronic, and also unfortunate it often is degenerative over time. So you need to be on top of it, and it's all about being preventative. But usually, like, I think the best things people can do is finding a good clinical provider that they can work closely with on tailoring things to their needs. Um, and then also just make sure you're interacting with other people in a community. There's Facebook groups, there's all kinds of groups out there. There's your community, anywhere where you can find community and talk to people that are dealing with something similar to you, I think is a huge benefit. It's a mental benefit, it's a spiritual benefit, and you just learn things from other people on how to help manage your own situation. So, those are some thoughts on how people can think about taking care of themselves.
I love that message. I know even for me, it's like when I started this, it's like I wanted people to know they're not alone. And very much what you're saying too, I've had exposure to a lot of doctors and some of them just don't specialize in it. So it's not their fault. It's just it's starting to evolve to have more specialists and if we can help people get connected to those specialists, that's what the goal is, right? So No, I love that. I love that. And again, just before we wrap up, where can people learn more about you, Blinkjoy, your products? I'll again make sure I link those, but if you just want to let us know.
Sure. Our website is helloblinkjoy.com. Actually, soon it's going to be blinkjoy.com. We're just working on switching the URL, but you can go to helloblinkjoy.com and you'll get to our site. In Canada, we sell our products on the iDrop shop. So if you're on eyedropshop.ca, just go in the search bar and look up Blinkjoy and you'll see all of our products there.
That's great. I'll link that too. Link that too. Thank you again so much for sharing your story, your perspective. This was an awesome conversation, so thoughtful. Those listening, thank you for tuning in. We are here for you. This is a community for you, so please reach out. And until next time, we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Angela.
Thanks for tuning in to Dry Eye Girlfriend, where beauty, wellness, and science come together to support your eyes and your life. If today's episode helped you feel seen, gave you that aha moment, or just made you feel a little more understood, share it with a friend, subscribe, and leave a review. It helps more women find this space and feel less alone on their dry eye journey. Remember, dry eye isn't just something to deal with, it's something you can manage with the right support, smart choices, and a little girlfriend guidance. I'll be back soon with more real talk, expert tips, and conversations that keep your eyes and spirit feeling bright. See you next time.